Hello, hello, hello. Might mute, might mute. What's up, guys? Good evening, good evening. Let's see if I am back. But I didn't go anywhere. Let me wait a few minutes until hey guys, good evening. How are you? Please put something in the chat. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Good evening to each and every one of you. I'm going to also put the hoping to have a conversation this evening regarding what's going on in our world. So let me see if I can put the link in here. TR, good evening. How are you? All right, so I got the link in the box, guys. Good evening to each and every one of you. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. I'm gonna wait for see if I get any one or two more people jump in before I start rolling out. How's everyone doing? I miss you guys, man. It's been a little while. Had one thing to another, going on, but I'm back. I am back. I am back. So. Yes, guys. So I wanted to talk today about what's going on in Ukraine. The whole Ukraine and the Russia conflict that's going on. That's what we're gonna be conversating about today. I'm hoping you guys could jump in here so we can have a direct conversation about how you guys feel about what's going on in our world. I mean, I'm hoping it's not affecting us at this moment. El Padilla, good evening. How are you? Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome. I got a link in the chat, guys. So as we go through this process, anyone want to have a conversation can just definitely hit the link and jump on in. I wanted to talk about the whole Ukraine and Russia thing that's going on right now. Everything that you're seeing on the screen. Peaches Royal, good evening. How are you? Hey, Semena. So first things first. To understand what's going on right now with Ukraine and Russia, we have to go a little bit back into history, right? And we have to go back as far as, say, Kiev. Kiev, back in the days in the 9th century, when it was more powerful than Moscow, right? There was also a time when America and Ukraine were adversary. I mean, if one can actually believe that, we're almost like friends these days, Russia and the United States are adversary. But going back to the 9th century, there was actually a state called Kievan Rus. And we go back as far as 980 to 1000 that it was ruled by the Grand Prince Vladimir. Now, today, we got two Vladimir that are in this conflict right now. They got a Vladimir Putin from Russia, and we have the other Vladimir from over in Ukraine. Now, a lot has changed over the years since a century has passed. Ukraine under Russian rule. Fast forward to the 1900 when the Soviet Republic, both of them were under the Soviet Republic. Russia being the most powerful of the 15 and Ukraine being the second most powerful of the 15. Now, so you have Ukraine, they always were covered into the defense industry. They also had the agricultural land. They had a lot of the Soviet nuclear arsenal sitting on Ukraine land. Now, during the Cold War, Ukraine was arch rival of the United States. Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, and Ukraine and Russia became independent. Wow. 1991 is a new world. Things are changing, right? At the time, it was President Gorbachev, that was from Russia, and then there was the President Reagan from the United States. Now, after the Ukraine nuclear inheritance, right, after the whole Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine had all over 1,800 of the nuclear bombs sitting on their side of the land. Now, come 1994, as we forward, the United States, Russia, and Great Britain, decided to come together and do an agreement, what they call the Budapest. Now, the Budapest agreed that they would cover, the security for Ukraine and make sure that, and in return, Ukraine would return all of these old Soviet nuclear bombs, weapons back to Russia. Now, I don't know what you guys think about that, but I thought for a second that it was a little crazy, because now today is, I feel like they're not as respected as they would be if they had their nuclear bombs on the side of the tracks with them. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Hey, Kirby, good evening. How are you? Now, after they did this thing in what they call a referendum, called the Budapest in 1994, Ukraine decided, and they took a few years, that they were going to return all the nuclear weapons that they inherited after the Soviet Union collapsed. Now, they returned them, in 1996, the last set, and then in 2001, then it was where the final part of the vehicle that would move the nuclear weapon around was transferred back to Russia. Now, fast forward a little bit into 2001, we have a new president, right, of Russia. And we're looking at all this agreement. And this is where we feel like, Ukraine was let down over the years, because even today, what's going on right now would not have been happening if they were in control of some of their nuclear weapon. So, like I said, this evening, I am here, putting the conversation on here. I want to have a conversation with you guys, see what you guys think about, what's going on in Ukraine, and how do you guys feel about it? How is it affecting us? I mean, as far as the gas prices are concerned, it is beating us over the head. I see that. Um, like I said, I want just to give you guys a little bit of backstory of how we got here, and just see what you guys had to say. Because even after Vladimir got into power, and a few years later, back in 2013, Viktor Yanukovych from Ukraine, he had power. He was elected in Ukraine as president, and he had a chance to make a good deal with the United Nations, with not the United Nation, with the Europeans. So the people wanted him to make a deal. They were pushing him to make a deal. They said, "Hey, make a deal, sign the deal," and they were always chanting, "Make a deal, sign the deal." But he decided that he wanted to take the $50 million bailout from Russia rather than making a deal with the European Union. Now, once that happened, that trade deal did not happen. It was rejected. Protests broke out in Ukraine. It was crazy. They called it the Euromaidan. Reason why they called it Euromaidan was because it was about Europe, the whole protest, and Madame because it happened in Kiev, Madame. So this is also known today as Independence Square. The protesters chanted, "We have to get rid of Yanukovych," and they chanted, "Sign the deal." Of course, the deal was never signed, and then he was toppled in 2014. So he had to run out of Ukraine and run to Russia. Now, once he got into Russia, of course, Putin is thinking, man, he's upset because he lost his puppet in Ukraine. So you lost the puppet in Ukraine. So what happened? He decided in the same year in 2014, he's going to annex Crimea. So he went on into Crimea, the peninsula, and to him, it's a unification of Crimea, and to the rest of the world, it's the annexation of Crimea. So he went in and did all of that. And this is why we are at today, in 2022, where we're at in the situation and what's going on. I feel like Ukraine was let down, and that's why we're here where we are. The fact that they didn't sign the deal, that's why we're here where we are. And I want to see what you guys have to say about this. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Hello, 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 Felipe. How are you, sir? Peaches Royal, good evening. Jada LaRusse, I agree, Jason. Now, any one of you guys want to jump on the chat and voice your opinion? You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. But if you guys want to jump on the chat, let me know how you guys feel. I just put the link in the chat. You guys can jump on and give me your opinion on it. What do you guys think about what's happening right now? What are your thoughts? What's happening right now in Ukraine? How is it affecting us? I mean, is this the next world war that we're looking at? Is this going to be World War III? Because at this point, I feel like, Russia underestimated what Ukraine was, because they ran in and we thought after a day or two it would be over. Because we're talking about a country like Russia, a huge, massive piece of land, 9 time zones, Not just nine, we're talking about nine time zones, 147 million people, compared to Ukraine that has about 37 to 40 million people, a rough estimate, more or less. So you're like three times the size of that guy, or four or five, yeah, three times, more than three times the size of that guy. So I feel like it's a beatdown more than an actual war. Let's see what you guys are saying as far as it's going on in the chat. But yeah, guys, so this, after the whole Crimea thing, and what happened, I felt like they were let down. I felt like they were let down. I felt like, when Russia lost its puppet, I felt like it was one thing to another. Russia promised, to respect the whole Ukraine, and its autonomy, and that's the reason why they gave them back the nuclear weapon, all the nuclear weapon that they have. But I mean, this teaches you something about trust and the modern day that we're living in. Let me see what you guys are saying here. One second, guys. Joe said, I love Tudo, my voice is a bit hoarse. No problem, Jedalaru, no problem. Thank you very much. But this is totally a conversation I'm into. Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot for being a part of the conversation this evening. No, it is interesting. It really is, because this can affect us in a lot more way than we think. We're on the other side of the world, so we might not think it's affecting us. But when you look at it, the gas prices, are through the roof, and it doesn't. I don't see a sign where it's slowing down or getting any cheaper. Gas prices is ridiculous. I saw gas prices today. I was in New Jersey and I saw a gas price at $5 and change in a small town. I'm like, wow, when did gas prices get that high? I can't imagine this place with $5-6 per gallon gas prices like some of the places in Europe. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, what do you guys think? Should NATO join NATO? Should Ukraine join NATO? What do you guys think about that? Because right now, according to what Putin is saying, he feel like Ukraine and Russia are one. So of course, that's why he said he doesn't want them to join NATO. Now, what does that mean? He feel like they're one. He feel like they're brother. They've always felt like Ukraine was part of Russia from the beginning. I don't know if you guys are aware, but even on the east side of Ukraine is controlled by most Russian. Most people on that side of the country speak Russian. They believe in what the Russian message is, and people on the west side of Ukraine, they think totally different. They think more like the European side. They're thinking like the European message. They feel like freedom is the way they want to live their life. Let me see what else you guys are saying. What is sorry, Jason, driving Peaches. Peaches, no problem. Peaches, I'm listening. Okay. Caribbean 46 says, I think Ukraine should join NATO. Caribbean, Ukraine would love to join NATO, but Vladimir Putin don't think it's a good idea for Putin. Vladimir Putin don't think it's a good idea for Ukraine to join NATO. I think he feels like maybe it's too close to his country. That's what I'm assuming. I have no idea. Talia, good evening.
Hi,
How are you? Good evening.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing very well. What do you think about this topic? Should Ukraine join NATO?
Well, I think that Ukraine has been trying to join NATO for like since 2008 now. And so if they want to, they should be able to without having to worry about Russia invading them. Because I mean, they're an independent country and they promise to respect like each other and their rule, and now Russia is not going through with this promise, and like it's seeming pretty bad for them, and it's pretty unfair also for all these people that are not being able, like they're not, Russia's not letting them do like what they want to do with their own government. So it's really sad to see all the Ukrainian families that are suffering right now, and that all those moms that have to say bye to their sons and their husbands.
Yeah, I heard that if you were like the age of 18 to 60 and you're male, you'd have to stay back and fight. I even saw the ex-president yesterday, Poroshenko. He was in a military outfit preparing to defend his country. So no male between the age of 18 to 60 are coming out of Kiev right now. They're all fighting for their freedom. Remember, guys, I've said on this program many times that freedom is not free. We should not take it for granted. And I stand firm. Someone have to fight for your freedom. It doesn't matter which continent you live on. So you're saying that they've been trying to join NATO since 2000, what, three? You said,
I
nothing.
said I think I read somewhere that it was 2008 when they requested to
2008.
join NATO, but they were
Okay.
neither rejected nor like they didn't really do anything about it, but they just let it, like they didn't respond to their like application to join NATO or whatever you have to do.
Now, I feel like they were let down. I feel like they should have been a part of NATO from the minute they got out of the Soviet Union back in 1991. Because just the fact that you had all those nuclear weapons, you had a whole arsenal, over 1,800 different nuclear warhead, back in 1994 that you decide to turn over, 91 to 94, and then you decide to turn them over after the agreement that Russia and United States and England, um, they decided that they would assure your safety. So I thought from then they should have been a part of. They should have been like the first one to be a part of the whole NATO. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they were let down. I feel like Ukraine was let down. I feel like they were stooped in a case like this because you turn over all the weapons and now
Yeah,
you can't defend yourself.
I think that is definitely like just something that can escalate really quickly to make like this type of decisions. So if they were like if they would like allowed Ukraine to join NATO, now the war, I feel like Russia wouldn't have declared war just on Ukraine, but like in most NATO countries. And we do know that like World War III will be a nuclear war, and it will be done really quickly because all the nuclear weapons that both the U.S. and Russia has, and then like we're just not even thinking if like other countries like China also join this war, it will
Hmm.
be a total disaster, and it will not be. It will be probably the end of humanity. Like that's how far it can get to be. But they were definitely let down. I just think that it's really hard to help them when they have Russia on their backs, like threatening you to send nuclear weapons to your country if you help them, and doing all these things. And of course, leaders of the world have to think first on like what is better for their own people, even
Very
though it
true.
really is upsetting and unfair. But this is just like how the world is right now.
Now, look at what Ann Thompson is saying, right? She's saying, bring on inflation. It's a lot going on in our country that needs to be fixed. Gas up, food cost of living is off the chain. No doubt about it, Ann Thompson. I mean, it is ridiculous. Every piece is up. Have you seen the price of used car? Even a new one, if you can get
Hmm.
it, it's ridiculous. So I definitely understand that inflation is pushing north. And with what's going on over there, it will hit home at some point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what Anne is saying. And just think about when you piggyback off and you think about what's going on in Russia and the oil and then the sanctions, that has to affect all around. Even now that we're cutting down on vodka sales here in the United States, Russian vodka, at least at that, it's every small piece of it. So it's gonna keep pushing the inflation further and further up. You know,
Yes. Especially like because I was told that like we want to go harder in the sanctions against Russia, but European countries still like don't want to take another step like more when the like energy source, because they do depend fully on Russia for fuel and energy. And um like once they do that, or if they get to do that, it will definitely affect more like gas prices and inflation everywhere in the world, not only America. I think this situation is affecting every single country in the world.
Now, as you say that, let's think about the refugees. Right now, the last time I checked, we were almost at 400,000 refugees trying to cross the border over into Poland. I just spoke to a friend of mine that's from Ukraine, and he's telling me his family members are trying to cross the border. They're trying to get to the border. The lines are long. Trying to get on a train is ridiculous. Just trying to get to Poland. Because I was asking him, I said, why don't you guys try to do Moldova? He said it's a small country like Delaware. It's too small and it's further south. I said, what about some of the other countries that are close by? He said their control, they have the Russian troops, too many Russian troops sitting on the border between Ukraine and like Moldova, or between Ukraine, so it's the only option they have right now is just to go into Poland, or I guess from Poland you have more access like to Germany if you keep going further west. So just think about the refugee situation and what's actually going to happen with the refugee situation right now. Just imagine those countries in Europe flooded with refugee. I feel bad for those people because a lot of them are leaving their husbands behind, and a lot of them will never see their husbands again because it's just mom and then children. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. No, and I definitely I've been seeing a lot of videos, and it really although the situation is really good to see how Ukrainian people are fighting back so hard, and to see their president just like really standing by them. Like literally this man has not left the country even though he knows that um Vladimir Putin wants him dead. And I
Sure.
think that's one of the reasons why the Ukraine resistance has been as strong as it is right now, is because of him, and him just showing how he cares and he's not going to just save himself. And look how his country is just goes under the government of Putin. Um, he's just gonna fight until the end with them, and that's something that like I've never seen before. I don't know if anyone else has ever seen like a leader fought with their people as much as this man is doing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure if we go back a little bit in the history, we can find some of that. I'm reading some of the comments here, and people are agreeing what we're saying. Jasenia jumped in and she said, China is busy invading Taiwan. Not yet, John Jasenia, but when you look at the whole Taiwan China situation, believe me, they're watching. This is like a prime example for them. They want to see which direction this is going to go. Will Russia be able to invade Ukraine and get away with it just like that? Will we be going to a global world war? I'm pretty sure China is watching, because they're the second, economy in the world, and they want to be the number one. So I am pretty sure they're watching and paying attention to a lot of that's what's going on. Jada LaRue says World War III could be a nuclear one. The science and technology is too advanced and slick to not go for nuclear war. It's not. No, you're right about that. I mean, it's that's what I was just talking to my friend about. He said if we get a World War III, it will be a nuclear one. It will be dirty bombs. That's what he believes. I mean, that's his opinion. Who to tell? Who are we to tell? Exactly what's going on. But right now, I feel like everything else is high. Hey guys, you guys, there is the link. I have the link in the chat. You guys can call in if you want to have a conversation with me about this topic. Go ahead, Nati. What are your thoughts? Not you. Do you believe this will be a next global world war?
It could escalate to it, especially if Russia like touches a NATO country. Um, then a lot of like countries like the U.S. and the UK, these other places are expected to go into war, and so they will most likely do it, and this will most likely confirm like World War III and a nuclear war. So but I don't know, like it could go that way. I don't think that's what Vladimir Putin wants. I don't think he wants to go like govern a war that doesn't exist anymore, because that's basically what a nuclear war would do with the world. So I don't think that's something that he's willing to do. I hope it's not something that he's willing to risk.
The risk, man.
Yeah.
But if you think about what he's doing, he's destroying building, sending bombs into all of these military installation. The airport is not working. I mean, as you can see, most of the other countries around the world, they are taking, swift action, because even today, swift, which is the way monies are transferred digitally, they give you these codes, and trust banks from one continent to another, they pull Russia from being a part of swift, so they can no longer transfer money right now because of what's going on. Excuse me, guys. A lot of the oligarchs, they're not allowed to land their airplanes anywhere over Europe or the United States, Canada. I mean, they're basically isolating them. The growth is not that, everything is super high. And the rubles, which is the Russian currency, it lost like 30% of its value today. It's ridiculous. It was before the post-war, it was like 70 for each one US, and then now it's like one, I think like 110 it went up to today, so it lost a good part of its value. So the dollar is being devalued, the ruble is being devalued. So the countries are taking action, as much action that they possibly can. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I've seen that, and I believe right now, because the what's going on, and right now we have all these like platforms of social media where we can be like informed firsthand of what the situation is going on. Everyone's
Okay.
watching and everyone's seeing what's going on, like the reality of it most of the time, because it's still like we'll still have to deal with misinformation. But I believe like for this has made every to not be only Ukraine fight, but like everyone's fight. And that's also why a lot of countries are taking action against Russia. And
Okay.
even not only countries, like today I heard that the hacker Anonymous has been like hacking the Russian TV and showing like real footage of what's going on in Ukraine to in Russia. So like this just
Mm.
show you how, because of this new like access to being like so for like having the information firsthand, um has created like more support towards Ukraine and the and Ukrainian people.
Look at what Jada LaRue is saying. She says facts. They're watching and they're already planning on their their move after that. No, of course. I mean, we know they're doing it. It's, I mean, as sad as it is, we know they're working hard and they won't stop, because just a few minutes ago I heard that they were just, a barrage of more and more equipment going from Russia into Ukraine. So, I mean, they're trying to defend themselves as best as possible. Even
Um,
females. I saw females with their, did you see the females? They were out
yeah,
there with their outfits. I mean, they were ready to go. You saw them? I mean, they were like dudes. They had
I
their guns. Go ahead.
yeah, I saw this video of this woman like before when it was just before they invaded. She was just training all these boys in her neighborhood on like how to work, use a gun, and how to shoot and how to like fight. But I think the Jada LaRue's comment
Wow.
was more like about the China situation that we were talking about, them wanting to invade Taiwan. I think that's when she made that comment.
Sure.
But like she's still right there. Like she,
Ah,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay. So basically, they're into this because they're watching. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
this is going to be a big example for them. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a huge example for them though. Now, after what they did with Ukraine, right? The whole defense industry, the whole nuclear thing, the way they gave it back, and the Budapest agreement was not followed. After they did that, right? What do you think the Japanese are doing right now? Because their security depends on the United States and a lot more countries. What do you think the South Koreans are doing right now? Because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Their security depends on the United States and some of the allies, right? Because they don't have any nuclear weapon. Do you think that they're going to be sitting down and thinking about what their next move is, that maybe we should get our own nuclear weapon so what happened to Ukraine does not happen to us? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they probably are thinking about that right now. I mean, I don't know like how much like how many countries like how expensive it is to like get nuclear weapons or anything like that. I do believe that it's really expensive, and that's why a lot of countries don't have any. Um,
Okay.
but they definitely, I feel like countries that are, yeah, like Taiwan, Japan. who are really close to China, South Korea, who has North Korea like literally in front on top of them. Um, and all these countries are really like thinking about like putting themselves in the position of Ukraine and finding a way like
Okay.
how they could avoid a situation how it's happening right now, or a way that they can defend themselves as good or better than how Ukraine is defending itself.
Well, I think after this whole agreement with the Budapest agreement and what happened with Ukraine, I'm thinking that look at it, what the Russian did, right? Look at how the agreement was put together, and then this guy basically, Putin, just basically tore the agreement, right? In other words, I mean, he's not accepting the agreement, he's not respecting the agreement because according to this agreement, Ukraine should never have to worry about their security interests, their sovereignty, right? They're a separate nation, and it was agreed upon that it would stay that way. Under Kuzchek, which he was the president of Ukraine at the time, and then under Boris Nelson was the president of Russia, and then Bill Clinton, the president from the United States. Now, what do you think as far as North Korea? Because they want North Korea to stop even thinking about getting a nuclear weapon, and we did an agreement with Iran. And then when Trump came in office, remember that agreement,
Yeah.
he looked the other side also with an agreement. So where is the trust? You need these countries to believe in what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also what I'm saying. That like, if there's like a NATO country that gets like involved in this war, the United States, like, it will look really bad on the United States to not take action immediately against Russia or whoever is attacking them, because they have this agreement and they have sworn to protect them from any type of invasion. So it would basically look like the United States doesn't care, and they're just gonna let Russia or China or North Korea or Iran or whoever is attacking do whatever they want.
Yeah, Miss T Velocity. I figure you were talking about China, as far as China looking at Taiwan, trying to see if they're learning a lot from this. Of course, they're going to see what are the consequences if there are any, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a lesson to each one of us. If we survive it, right? If we survive it. You think Russia will back off? What do you think, Natalia? Russia will back off? Hey guys, I have the link. I'm sorry, Natalia. I have the link in the chat. I have the yeah, the link inside the chat. If you guys want to call in, you guys are welcome to do that. We can have this conversation. Do you guys think Russia will back off? Will Putin just decide that what, it's not worth it? We lost too many lives. We're killing too many innocent people. Do you think they'll back off? What do you think?
Um, I don't know. Right now, it's kind of hard to see it. It's definitely hurting his ego. The fact that this has taken so long, and the fact that keeps getting more and more hurt. And I think Putin's decision, if he gets to back up, it's not going to be completely on him, but like on the people that support him, on the people with like the wealthy people that support him and have him on power in Russia. If this, because did heard that a lot of countries are trying to like block all of this, like the oligarchy, their wealth and all their privileges from the rest of the world as a way to hurt like Russia and Putin. And I believe that if this like gets to a point when there's people are really, really hurting, they're gonna force Putin to back off and stop it. But I don't think it will come as his like own decision. I think that his ego is too big to just say like I'm done, or to say like this is not worth it. I feel like he will
Okay.
prefer to destroy Ukraine than to just back off and let them win.
Now, Jasenia is saying it will take other countries intervening for him to back off. But if
Hmm.
he feels like he has all the power, because really and truly, I mean, what can a lot of country do when he has the nuclear power? I mean, they're doing what they're trying. I mean, they're doing a lot right now, as far as the banking system, as far as restricting travel for the oligarch and for him. They're hoping to push the people and then push him into a corner to get him out of office. I think that's what they're thinking about doing, because that's the only way to do it. Just like what happened in the Arab Springs and what happened in was, you have to push the people, and the people will push their political leader out of office,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure he's feeling his wealth, getting less and less each day because the dollar. Think about it. Being your rubles valued 30% of what it valued 5 days ago. That's crazy. That's a hell of an inflation. And remember, their stock market was closed today because it was getting out
Yes.
of control, and their stock market will be closed tomorrow, the 1st of March, because it's getting out of control. Remember, that's how your dollar float up and down. You're buying goods across borders, right? State, continents. You're buying goods all over the place. And if your dollar keep devaluing and devaluing each time, it's not good for your country. It's not good for your nation. The people are going to start suffer, and the more the people suffer, the more they'll start pushing. Remember, freedom is not free, guys. Trader Joe, good evening. Trader Joe says, Ukraine is already lost. Hey, you want to call in, Trader Joe? My link is in the chat. You can call in. We can have this conversation if you think Ukraine already lost. I don't know about them losing, man. I mean, they have heart. They have heart. They're fighting hard. They have heart. You have to believe, that's the way it starts. You have to believe in what you believe in, and then you fight for it. All those 18 to 60-year-old, they're fighting. Even some of the women that don't even have to be there, they pick up arms and they're fighting for their nation. Just like we would fight for this nation, if something like this was to happen. See what I'm saying? That's what Trader Joe is saying, guys. Um, now, nothing. So this right now, how are the U.S. and its allies responding? How do you think? You think they're responding as much as they could do? Or you think they could do more?
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't like to be in neither of their positions. I think none of like I feel like Boris Johnson and Joe Biden don't want to be Boris Johnson and Joe Biden right now, and no one else wants to be them in this moment. Because it's just such a hard decision to make. Like, you getting too involved, you're bringing all your country to this situation that can end up like killing, like destroying your whole country. But then you
Hmm.
have this responsibility, and you also see like in front of the rest of the world, I'm gonna be looking at what you are doing because you are in this position of power, and you're supposed to be better than Russia. You're supposed to defeat Russia. So I don't know. I feel like, I mean, right now they're doing the sanctions.
Sure.
um I feel like they can definitely do better in the sanctions, but after that, really don't know. I really don't want to think about what else can Dirk do because
Now,
just such a complicated situation.
hey guys, for some of you guys haven't hit the like button yet, please hit that like and subscribe button. Please support the channel. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Not it, but when you think about some of the stuff they're doing, they're pushing the limits this time because even some of the ETFs, which are the exchange trade funds that is traded here on the Nasdaq stock exchange in New York City, even some of those that have exposure to Russia, they stopped trading some of those. So I mean, they're trying to hit them, on all different angles, on all different angles. They're removing the vodkas from the shelf. They're stopping the aircraft from flying. The family visa, the kids that go to school abroad. If you go to school in the EU, in the European Union, or you go to school in the United States or Canada, now your kids have to take a break because they're getting rid of those visas for the time being. So they're pushing the limits. This is not like when the whole Crimea situation happened back in 2014. This time they're taking it a little bit more personal because they feel like he's becoming too emboldened. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I feel like overall, like his plan is not only to take Ukraine, but to restore the Soviet Union. And
Well, he said that many times
yeah, he
that
has
his
said that
his
many times.
plan
And
is
there's
to
a
do
lot of
that.
people in Russia that they're still waiting for the Soviet Union to come back as how it was in like what 30 years ago.
Sure.
Um so definitely for him to be able to like I don't think he really like if he would have captured Ukraine already, he wouldn't have stopped there.
Okay.
He
Okay.
will probably like would have kept going and invading more and more countries. and
Okay.
and with this whole thing like situation with NATO and all, like this is like NATO was created to stop something like this from happening again after World War II, and like how like the devastation that caused. um so
Let's look at what TR is saying. Let me respond to her real fast. My understanding is that Putin feels that NATO continues to move in on surrounding territory. So he continued. So they continue to surround him. I think that's what she's saying right there. So he feel like his walls are closing in on him, and I think I heard that's what he said. So he wants. I think that was his reason for attacking Ukraine. He was telling Ukraine, you can't be a part of
Yeah, of NATO.
a part of NATO, right? The North America Treaty Organization. He's saying you can't be a part of it. But who are
Yeah.
you to tell them what they can or cannot do? They're sovereign nation,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Yes.
almost like someone coming here and telling the United States, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't go
Yes.
over there. You can't." I mean, how does that work?
That's what yeah, like I understand him not wanting NATO, like a part of NATO, to be like really close to him, but like still, if he invades Ukraine and he like if he annexes Ukraine to Russia, he will
Okay,
still be right next to Poland, and Poland is a NATO country. So it really didn't doesn't make sense for him to use this as an excuse, because he's just getting more closer and closer and closer to NATO countries, and he says
sure.
that he's feeling surrounded by them. And I feel like more this is more about like um like the natural, I think, like I heard somewhere, like the natural resources that come from Ukraine. I heard something about how their river is like a really good for exportations or something like that,
Hmm.
for him to get that again.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, it makes sense, but like you said, he's getting closer and closer to NATO. I just feel like, a lot of people are saying he wants to get back to the old Soviet Union, because remember, he was a young soldier in the KGB at the time, and he didn't like the way he was treated or the way his country was treated. So I feel like now he's president, he's trying to build back the old Soviet. You see what I'm saying? Bring it back to what it was, 30, 40 years ago. But I don't get what's going on with him, because the world has moved on and the world has changed, but Putin has not. So I don't know which part of that does he not understand.
Yeah, I think that's like more, you can see that more in how the world is responding to his attacks. How most more and more countries right now side with Ukraine and against them, and even like big like allies of Russia, like China, have not intervened at all, and have not really it's not like in World War II, how one declare one war to the other, and then immediately the other declare war to the other. We're being more cautious with this, because this is something that no one wanted this to happen again. Everyone wanted to avoid this situation, and everyone was content with how things were going. So
Now,
it really shows like how the world is reacting to his attacks, how the world is changing, and we're like focusing on other things.
so I see that Jasenia is she's saying here that Russia is a revolutionist country.
No, it's a
What?
revisionist country. A
Huh? What is
revisionist
that?
a revisionist country.
Oh, it
A
says
revi-
revenue. Ah, okay. So
yeah,
that's
a
the president. Okay.
revisionist country is a country that like looks back until their past and how much they have thrived in the
Oh yeah,
past, and they
revenue
want to
country.
bring
You're
that
right. There is
back.
no L in there.
Yeah.
Now, remember, I agree. Colonial history, colonial history is wrong. It's like, Great Britain going back and saying, "Hey, I want to take over India or South Africa," or even want to fight back for these United States, right? It's like Spain going back and claiming that, Philippine is still part of us. I think that's what Putin is doing as far as Ukraine, and all of those surrounding country that was part of the Soviet Union, right? Post imperialism, cannot justify, for present expansionism. So I do not agree with what he's saying. I think has this old mindset in the way he feels and what he thinks. I don't know. Does he feel like he's gonna live like 200 years old or what? It makes you
Something like
wonder.
that. Because he modified the constitution to rule longer than how it's supposed to
Six
be.
years. Yeah, he
Hmm.
changed that the first his first term he got in. He moved the constitution so the presidency would last from 4 years to 6 years, because everything else was 4 years before that. Kirby, I saw Kirby was trying to get in, but it says disconnected. Kirby, you have to try that again. You got to call in and try that one more time. It says you're disconnected. But I mean, it's ah, Nate. It doesn't look like Ukraine is going to give in. I was gonna ask a question. Do you guys feel need? Ukraine will give in, but obviously it's just not in their blood to do it. Let's see what Trader Joe is saying. She's saying Ukraine is not part of NATO. Europe and the United States have already made it clear they are not intervening. Yep, handed it over to civilian Ukraine. Yeah, you're right on Trader Joe's. They will not intervene. That's exactly what they said. So they're fighting their own battle. I mean, it's heroic that they're fighting their battles and the way they're doing it. You give them more and more respect as you see them fighting more and more. So hold on for me, Natty, 1 second. Kirby 46, good evening, sir. Kirby 46, good evening, sir. Hold on, Natty. Hey, Kirby 46. So yeah, guys, if you guys want to have be a part of the conversation, you guys want to call in. I put the link inside the box, so you guys could just click on the link. Let's hit on the live chat, click on the link, and then you guys can be a part of the conversation. Let me know what you feel. You don't have to show your face. I mean, if you don't want to do it, it's up to you. Um, Kirby, you can try calling back in again. You came up, but you weren't saying anything. I can hear your background, but you weren't saying anything. So you can try calling back in again if you want to. That's for Kirby 46. Yeah, Nati. So that's where I'm at. Do you surprised about the resistance, Nati? As far as are you guys surprised about the resistance? Let me ask that in general. Do you guys thought Ukraine would make it this far, 6 days in, and they still have a fighting chance? What do you guys think? Put it in the box. Let me know what you guys think, or you guys can call me. Nati, what are your opinion?
I am impressed. I was not expecting this. I was expecting Russia to come, like, go in and like 2 days tops, just have Ukraine and then whatever they want after that. Um, so this resistance is really like it's just surprising to see. Like it really surprised me. Like I really took Ukraine like to be more not submissive, but not to be as resistant. Like this type of behavior that the people are having, the president's having, is really like it really surprised me to see this.
Yeah, for me, it was the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. I thought, 2 days, because like I said, a country being as big as it is, 147 million people, compared to a country with 37 million people, that's a huge difference. A country with 9 time zone, that's just big. I mean, we don't even have 9 time zone here in the United States. So for me, the fact that we're this many days in, it blew my mind for a second. I was there thinking like, whoa, I mean, like, we all underestimate. We sure did. We all underestimate. Let's see what Trader Joe is saying. At 1 second, Trader Joe says a lot of people will be killed. It's not worth it. Both regimes are corrupt as well. Trader Joe's, we're not arguing that point. Definitely, there's a lot of corruption that goes on in those spots. There will be a lot of people, like I was telling Natalia earlier, that, a lot of people are going to lose their husbands because a lot of the males are staying back. I mean, you do have some females that are there fighting the battle. Don't want to give up. They love their country. They love what their country represent. They feel like they had a raw deal from the beginning. Because, like I said, in the beginning of the show, I went all the way back to the 9th century, with Ukraine and how they got into this whole position and how, Kiev was more powerful than Moscow going back then. So just imagine how it must be felt today, you as Ukraine on the other side. And then, these are just bad decisions along the way here and there, because even the nuclear stuff, I thought they would have been able to defend themselves today rather than what's going on. So yeah, I agree with that, Trader Joe. Both are corrupt. We can't disagree with that one. Jada LaRue said, I felt Ukraine would do exactly what they're doing. I was not all surprised. I would be surprised if they're still resisting after 10 days. All right. Well, time will tell. Jada LaRue, time will tell. So Jasenia M is saying, I'm not surprised such a small country already beat the powerhouse of Russia once. All right, there you go. So and then Miss T Velocity says, I am surprised. Yeah, I had a little bit of surprise going on there myself also, because I thought such a small country, I was wondering, if they could actually handle. But I do say back home, big small axe fall big tree. So, I guess it's one of those things. TR is saying, I'm sure it's complicated, but I still don't understand how, you have all the arsenal and give them away. Treaty agreements are only as good as the leader willing to honor them. You're right. Now, that's a big one right there. That's a big one right there, guys, because they had the treaty agreement called the Budapest. And look at what happened. 1994, they had an agreement. 93, they had all the arsenal. They could have created their own, they could have been their own superpower with their own bombs and everything. Who could have told them anything? You got 1800 nuclear warhead. Nobody could talk to you. You'd be the boss of everything. You'd have more respect. And now you turn them over. The leader at the time decided it was best for you to turn them over and put your fate in the hands of someone else. I think it was a bad idea. What do you think, Nati?
Yeah, about that one, it's
Yeah, that
definitely,
was a
I
bad
feel like
idea.
that decision, they made that decision back then to avoid something that's going on right now. So they definitely shouldn't have trust a government um like the Russian government, because
Okay.
these people are authoritarian governments. And yeah, and so, but I think that was like, I feel like that was the reason why they took a decision like that. And even though, like, right now looking back at it, it was a really bad decision, because they could have been like um doing better in a situation like this. They could have even avoided a situation like this right now. But it could have also created a lot of like issues if they would have kept their arsenal. So I don't know. This is a really complicated situation to say like what was the right choice or the wrong choice, or what's the right decision, the wrong decision, or who's acting, or like, yeah, just what's good and what's not good.
You know what before I came on here this evening, guys, Nati, before I came on here this evening and sat down to have this conversation, I was driving around and I just, keep pondering, keep thinking about, exactly the world that we're living in, the world that we're leaving for our children, right? The kids that are going to be going to college very soon, the ones that are in college, the ones that are thinking that, man, we have the secure world, what we're looking forward to. COVID is not even over. We lost easily 6 million. It was an estimate of 6 million people around the globe, right? 435 million people contracted COVID, and we lost approximately 6 million. You think that would be enough, right? COVID is not even over, and here we are with another war. So it's consistently war and humanity, right? So it's if it's COVID, war and humanity, or it's just war from countries or dictators that are saying that are pretending to be presidents. Because I don't know if they know the meaning of president. When you look the word of president, it's different from dictatorship. But these are like full-time president, long-term president, president for life kind of idea. But yeah, so it's one of those things. In this country, we lost close to 1 million people. About 80 million contracted COVID. So everyone was affected. And now with what's going on in Russia, we're all going to be affected again because the gasoline price is going to be high, the diesel price is going to be high. So heating your house is going to be high. Everything is going to be high. So from one to another to another. And once the refugees start moving from countries to countries, that just stacked on the bills that you had to pay, your tax system, everything changes. Why are they fighting from wait, okay. Ann Thomas is saying, why are they fighting from my understanding is for power. Well, it's always how the order of it go. It's money, power, respect. Yeah, I think that's how it goes on Ann Thompson. It's money, power, respect. First you get the money, then you get the power, and then there's a couple of words, and then everybody else will respect you. So I think this is the way they're going. Everyone always want more land, more power. And this is the whole fight that keeps going back and forth. Semena Velasquez is saying the conflict must stop for the good of Ukrainian people, for the good of Europe, and for the good of humanity, and for the good of life on earth. I agree with that. Thank you, Semena, for that. I appreciate that. Hey guys, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys very much for being here this evening. Like I said, I have a lot. It's a lot that goes through one mind when you think about what's at stake. Who is involved, right? And who is going to get hurt? Who will be hurt tomorrow? And what are your thoughts on it? And then the question remain, will this be a global war? I mean, promises and promises and promises, even the papers that these promises are signed on are not even worth it anymore. Because if you don't have your guns, it seems like, who knows, who knows. Any last word from you, Nati?
Um, I just hope this conflict gets resolved in the best way possible. I feel like I don't know. There has been a lot going on in the past like couple of years, and adding another war, a possible World War III, just like it really, um, the hope of like the society and humanity itself is just like a lot of people are not like, it's like really sad and depressing the atmosphere that's going on in the world right now. So I really hope this gets resolved in the best way possible so we can finally have some type of peace or some type of um like neutral ground so we can
Okay.
get back on our feet after everything that we have been through in the past new year period.
Now, is there really a good way to be out of this? Because we lost a few hundred people already. And for me, this is like a senseless war. I mean, we can fight over other things. We already lost enough people during COVID. I don't think we need to lose any more. We have the daily occurrences that happen, the cancers, the illnesses, all of the stuff that happen that kill people on a daily basis. And then we went through COVID that killed a good vast amount of people. And then now we're going through what's going on right now as what I would call a senseless wars, between, because a guy ego is too big, and he feels like he has most of the gun and he has some support of some of the elite in his country. I don't get it. I don't get it. Progressive Element says, I'm not surprised how well Ukraine is holding up. Their fighters are all majors of Kiev. Okay. And former world heavyweight. Okay. Good deal. Former world heavyweight boxer. I mean, a lot of us are surprised. Nati, thank you very much. I appreciate you chiming in and being a part of the conversation. We appreciate everything about you. All right. Talk to you guys. We talk to you soon.
You're very welcome.
All right. So yeah, guys, anyone else want to jump in? Want to be a part of this conversation, you can call in and be a part of the conversation. My link is in the box. I'm going to continue looking at some of these comments, read some of these comments, go over with what you guys are saying. So if you want to jump in, let me know how you guys feel. Let me know what are your thoughts. Well, you guys can call in. Hit the link and call in, and let's see what Progressive Element is saying. Okay, no, that's not progressive. Let me see. Okay, Trader Joe's. Let's see what he's saying. This is okay. There we go. This is only a live stream of 23 people, but let me say this: the hey, Trader Joe. Even though it's only 23 people in right now, it's gonna go across, so more people will get in there. Don't worry. The message will be read. You know how the internet is; it's travel across from one place to another. Kirby said, I hope they get some foreign fighters to help. I don't think they're going to get any foreign fighters to help Caribbean 46 because a lot of the countries said they were going to stay out of it because it wasn't their business, I think is what it is. Um, so I think that's what a lot of them are going to do. They're going to stay out of this and let it be their business to handle. Hey guys, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Let me read some more of these comments. People might be mad at me for saying this, but you know, I would like if blacks would take this kind of stance, whether Ukraine or not, Russia. A stand is better than stand that's clearly not working. Okay, well, there it is. Jeda LaRue, that is your opinion. I mean, they are standing for what they believe in. We all should stand for what we believe in. Doesn't matter, the color, race, gender, whatever the case is. We should always stand for what we believe in. So, and that's what they're doing. I mean, they're standing firm. I see ex-presidents are standing firm. They're talking about what they're doing. You would think those guys would be running for the bunker, right? No, they're true soldiers. They put their guards on, they put their uniforms on, and they go out with their guns, and they're saying, hey, this is what we need. We need help in this way, we need help in the other way, but we're going to fight for the Ukraine that we love. This is what they're saying. So I mean, you got to admire that kind of feeling, about what, how does one feel about, their country. Doesn't matter where you're from. So, AKJ Jimmy says, look up Ukrainian ruling party. It's openly fascist. Hey, like I said, guys, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Please remember to support the channel. Let me see what Peaches Royal is saying. Okay, back, guys. Had to leave, but back. We'll have to replay. No problem, Peaches. It's just part of the Ukrainian conversation. We wanted to know how people feel. What were their thoughts? Should, are we going into a global war? Is this a global war that is inevitable? Is that where we're going towards right now? You guys can hit the link in the chat to call in if you wish. You don't have to show your face, and we can have this conversation. But yeah, like I said, it's everyone. Trader Joe's saying, nobody go out with guns. It's silly. Nobody go out with guns. What did they go out with? Trader Joe's. I'm not sure if I understood what you were saying there. So please, if you would be kind enough to clarify. Jada LaRue is saying, no, that's not what I'm saying. I want them to stand for what they believe. Okay, Putin believes in his thing, Ukraine believes in theirs. I wish black people would do it that way. Okay, all right. So I misunderstand. Okay, not just march with signs. Okay, all right. I hear you, girl. Yeah, so everyone believe in their stuff, and okay, good deal. Um yeah, guys. So, like I said, it's this is has been a raw deal for Ukraine going back, and I feel bad for them because Ukraine was formerly they were forcefully Russified, right? Going back to the 1700s, when it started all with the Russian leader Catherine the Great. She shipped Russian to that part of the world, to Ukraine, right? Schools were told also that, Russian had to be taught there, right? By the 1800s, Ukraine language was banned. Just imagine this deal that they got. By the late 1800s, Ukraine language banned. By the 1930, when Joseph Stalin got in power, he steered nothing but famine into Ukraine. This is why I'm saying they got a bad deal, right? So I'm breaking this thing down. I just give you guys a little bit of context of what happened in history and how it leads up to where we're at today as far as Ukraine and Russia. So that's the reason why I think the Ukrainian people, if they know their history, they don't want to be a part of Russia. With the exception of the small right side, which is the east side, that says Russia and their people are kind of controlling the small part. I mean, would you want to be a part of it? Of course not. When you dig into some of your history and see some of the stuff that happened, it helps you. We normally use history, to help make the decision for the future. And we do that with everything. We read, they said, those who do not know their history are condemned to repeat it, right? So that's why we go in and we learn a little bit about the history. We find out a little bit about what's going on, But as I was saying, million died during the whole Joseph Stalin thing, repopulated with nothing but ethnic Russians, right? That's exactly what happened. By the 1940s, ethnic Tatars were replaced. The ethnic Tatars, they were some of the people that the Indo Europeans that were there in Ukraine also, and they were replaced. Ukraine have always had fertile land. They've always had coal. They've always had iron. We're talking about a country today, with a GDP of easily 55.6 million. So it's per capita is about $3,700 per person, and that's breaking it down into US dollars. So today, 1 in 6 Ukraine is ethnic Russian. 1 in 3 speaks Russian native language. Putin is right when he says it's one nation, but the Ukrainian are thinking differently. They don't want to be a part of that nation. So they've been fighting all these years for all of this stuff. So it's part of the colonial history. And I don't think, 1 or 2 nights is going to do it. 1 or 2 fights are going to do it. But just to give you guys a quick context in exactly how we got here and how the Russians, treated the Ukrainians and how the Ukrainians feel about the Russian today, I just don't understand even why they even give up the nuclear weapon after they went through that history with them. Let me see what else you guys are saying, guys, in the chat. Hey, remember to hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Don't forget. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you guys can call in. I'm about to wrap it up here. I'm going to read some more of your comments real fast. See if there's anything else you guys would like to say. And Thompson is saying he's telling the truth. Blacks being pushed down in this country for 400 years. Okay, they need to stand up and stop voting for people that don't do anything for foundational blacks in this country. That's what Ann Thompson is saying. All right, Ann Thompson, I heard that. I heard that. We know wars are profitable for some. That's what Miss Tivolasi is saying. Yeah, wars are always profitable. I mean, when you look right now, if you look at the stock market and you see what's going on, most of the companies that are going to be moving up are going to be like the companies that are going to profit from building back nations, or building weapons or building aircraft to fight in these kind of war. So wars are always profitable. I mean, we lose lives. It's a sad part about it. We can't bring back lives, but it's just part of what happened in this world. Jada LaRue says, true indeed. Peaches Royale said, hi, Jurian. Okay. Chilla said, we don't have anything to do with that here. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's part. Luckily, Chilla, we don't have anything to do with that here. Somebody already fought for the freedom in this country, so we're just enjoying a small part of it. But like I tell you guys all the time, freedom is not free. So don't ever think it's free. Somebody have to fight for it. They're just fighting for theirs now. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Make sure you all like the video. Jada LaRusa, make sure you guys like the video. Yes, guys, please remember to hit the like button. Make sure you like the video. Thank you guys very much for your support. I so appreciate, each and every one of you guys are here this evening with me. Let me end with this quote. Putin said it's better to be hanged for loyalty than to be rewarded for betrayal. We're talking about this same guy that is betraying Ukraine right now with what's going on. Because to me, it's a betrayal. The fact that they ripped up all the agreement that they had to protect the whole Ukraine people. But nevertheless, we'll see how this thing goes. Let's see it. Let's watch it ride out for a couple of days. Hey guys, I appreciate each and every one of you being here this evening with me. Thanks a lot for your time. Until next week, peace and love. Remember, love those who love you and those who do not. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Love you guys. Peace.